I never thought a regular Saturday evening could turn my whole world upside down. I'm Jordan, and that night was meant to be a simple, cozy one at home with my fiancée, Sophia. Things seemed so normal and peaceful. The gentle whir of the dryer running in the background. The soft vanilla scent floating from the candles I'd set out earlier. That comforting feeling from the place we'd built together. But sometime after midnight, in the quiet before drifting off, all that routine broke apart. It began with a noise, quiet initially, but clear enough. A deep groan coming from the laundry area. I stopped dead still, wishing it was only in my head. Perhaps Sophia was up late, sorting laundry, murmuring to herself without thinking. I tried to convince myself of that. But the sound kept going. It got stronger, more insistent, impossible to brush off. My legs carried me forward before my thoughts could keep up. Each step toward the door felt like lead, my pulse thumping loudly in my ears. This isn't happening, I repeated to myself. It just can't be. But as I swung the door open, my whole sense of reality crumbled. There they were. Sophia, the person I'd planned my entire future with, entwined with Hunter, her stepbrother. My heart clenched so tightly I could hardly draw breath. Hunter's face went pale the instant he spotted me. He started to speak, fear evident everywhere on him. "We can explain," he blurted out fast, his voice shaky, weak and pleading. But words of explanation didn't matter right then. The space felt overwhelming, loaded with deceit. The jolt was so intense it was like shards piercing through me. I gazed at the ground while years of built-up trust vanished in an instant. Sophia avoided my gaze. Regret flashed over her expression before shifting to something harder, a recognition that nothing would be the same. I stayed silent. I gradually raised my phone, my grip firm even as everything inside me roared. The display lit up in my hand, a tiny device with the potential to reshape my whole existence. That's when it struck me. I faced a decision. I could give in to fury, or I could opt for clear thinking. I inhaled deeply and picked clear thinking. "Sophia," I said, my tone steady somehow amid the turmoil within, "we'll discuss this another time." She glanced up at me, uncertainty and remorse warring in her look. Hunter moved away, mumbling about errors in judgment, but I tuned it out. My brain was already speeding through all we'd envisioned. Countless moments of joy, common goals, chats during relaxed weekend mornings. It all faded away like grains slipping from my grasp. Still, right in the midst of that ruin, an odd clarity emerged. I saw how much I'd overlooked. The evenings out late. The growing emotional gap. The random, vague messages. I'd dismissed them as work pressure, tiredness, everyday stuff. But now the facts stared back, irrefutable. The faith was shattered, and certain fractures can't ever heal. I moved into the hallway, the faint glow throwing elongated shadows that mirrored my mindset. My hand brushed my phone once more, and almost instinctively, I tucked it away. I wanted reason to guide me, not feelings. The quiet afterward was overwhelming. Sophia didn't follow. Hunter stayed put. The instant dragged on forever, oppressive and stifling. That's when the isolation sank in. A profound, empty soreness that didn't yell but nestled silently in my heart. In that instant, a key insight hit me. I had to reclaim something. My command, my dignity, my path ahead. Their disloyalty was theirs alone. What I took with me was up to me. And in that quiet, I recognized that my experience counted. If this story is speaking to you, tap the like button so it can get to more people who might connect with Jordan's experience. I entered the living room, easing the door shut gently behind me, and dropped onto the sofa. Recollections looped nonstop, private humor, peaceful evenings, chuckles that now seemed remote and unfamiliar. I questioned if Sophia had ever really understood me, or if I'd been building a life with someone I didn't truly know. My phone vibrated with texts, pals, alerts, escapes, but I paid no attention. That evening, my reality shrank to one harsh fact. And oddly, under the sorrow, a serenity existed. I recognized decisions awaited. Limits needed setting. Comment below. What would you do if you were Jordan? Confront right away, leave quietly, or look for explanations first. For the first time in a long while, I allowed myself to experience the sting of disloyalty without excusing it or rationalizing it. That evening became a pivotal shift, even if I didn't see it fully then. Time slipped by, whether minutes or hours, I lost track. The darkness lengthened across the surfaces like quiet observers. Sophia never came to see how I was. She never said my name. Never gave any reason. That lack said more than anything verbal could. The disloyalty wasn't just the moment, it was the apathy that followed. That's how I knew certain paths, once closed, stay that way forever. I reflected on Hunter as well, how effortlessly he'd ignored every limit without pause. A side of me craved a showdown, yelling, catharsis. But I was finished pouring effort into those who'd picked lies. I learned that true power comes from holding back. I rose and headed to the bedroom, collecting essentials, outfits, wallet, phone, charger. Not from anger, but from what was required. The existence I was stepping away from wasn't worth rescuing anymore. Type betrayal in the comments if you've ever known the hurt of shattered faith. Outdoors, the evening remained calm. A far-off dog yelping. Foliage whispering. Lampposts buzzing. Everyday noises that seemed bizarre against my inner turmoil. I breathed in deeply and let it steady me. For the initial moment that night, the burden lightened, not since the hurt vanished, but because I'd decided my reaction. I drove aimlessly, beams cutting into the blackness. Each street, each curve served as a reminder that my tomorrow remained open. I experienced loss, rage, bewilderment, but also focus. I'd made it through the initial evening of an existence I hadn't chosen, and now I needed to mold it myself. Come morning, I contacted my closest buddy, Luke. He said, "You all right?" I stayed quiet on details. No need to elaborate. The pause conveyed plenty. He got it, and in that grasp, I sensed my first touch of calm. Share this with anyone who could benefit from it. At times, a single viewpoint can provide the push someone needs to keep going. When I finally went back to the house, it seemed vacant, even with echoes in every spot. The disloyalty had created unseen marks, lasting ones. I pondered what affection had meant, and what it had become. Something empty, overtaken by hidden truths and facades. Even so, within the debris, I discovered purpose. I understood I must safeguard my honor and mental health. Texts arrived from shared acquaintances and Sophia's relatives, queries, guesses, rumors. But I'd already grasped a vital lesson. The reality belonged to me, and others' opinions weren't my burden. I answered only as needed, shortly, composed, free of resentment. Every reply strengthened the path I was selecting, apart from those who damaged my confidence. Comment below. What term fits Jordan's handling best? Strength, clarity, or restraint? Let's discuss it. Weeks went by, and the intense sting mellowed to a steady throb. I began jogging at dawn, picking up novels I'd neglected forever. Playing tracks that brought back my old self. Every day restored a fragment of who I am. That's when a strong truth dawned on me. Disloyalty can't take your essence away unless you allow it. One night, by the glass with a mug of coffee, I thought over the past I'd released and the new one I was building. Sophia and Hunter didn't control my reality anymore. They belonged to a section I'd finished. And with that embrace came liberty, a subtle power grown from suffering faced, not evaded. If Jordan's path hits home for you, drop your ideas, your stories, and subscribe for additional tales on faith, disloyalty, and bouncing back. The evening heavens extended boundlessly over me, wide and unconcerned. And for the initial time in ages, I experienced a tranquility that felt solid. Disloyalty had arrived like a tempest, but it showed me the value of composure, the might of decision, and the wonder of taking back your own path. And as the lights twinkled up there, I knew this without doubt. I wasn't shaped anymore by what happened to me, but by how I decided to move past it.